Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite paranormal investigator. My name is Tim Sudano. This is Paranormal Insight, and today we have on the show my paranormal partner in S.C.A.R.I, Miss JJRose777. Let me bring her on. JJ, how's it going?
Hello, Tim. Hello, lovely beings.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the chat. We got Jackie C and Grandmother Herbs, excuse me, in the chat so far. Others will be joining us shortly. Welcome to the show, everyone. Today, we're going to discuss a case that is ongoing to one degree or another, but they had a very, interesting case, I think. I think it was one of the more interesting cases we've been on. And it reminded me of a case that we had before JJ joined the team. And it's the one that took place in the Saratoga area, where there was this haunted condominium. I think we told you about this, JJ. Haunted condominium. It had everything, poltergeist activity, full body apparitions. I can't talk live, but that's okay. And all kinds of other spiritual activity happening in the house. This kind of reminded me of that. And let's share with everybody real quick hey, Rosemary is here. Woohoo! Welcome to the show, Rosemary. And let's briefly share that piece of video. This is just one iteration. I want you to watch the area over by the stove kind of in the back. You can see something flying off here in a little bit. And this is when we knew they had something. So watch that very carefully in the back. It'll happen at any old moment now. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, sorry, I can't sing that song. That's right. It's copywritten. Watch very carefully. You're going to start seeing the foil move on top of the stove back there. And I don't know if you guys can see my cursor. Probably not. That's back there. And it'll happen soon, I promise. I promise. Is it even playing? Is it even playing? Let's see. I may have goofed.
Love it. It's just a still of a.
It's just a still.
Nice.
Okay. That was fun.
Well, wasn't that thrilling, everybody?
It was, yeah, super thrilling. Absolutely. So, okay. Let me see if I can, as we talk about it. But, and Sheila is on with us. Welcome. And Chucky Danger's here too. Hey guys, welcome to the show. But as if I ever get the thing up, you will see that it sits there for a bit and then the foil starts to rise up. And then the spatula, boom, flops on the floor all by itself. Zero manipulation. We did investigate that. The residents investigated that as well because they didn't know what the heck was going on. And they thought someone was playing a joke, but that wasn't the only occurrence they had. They also had a chair that just kind of bucked like a horse all on its own. And there was no one around. Not really.
Yeah. It was, I think it's interesting for you to let other people know, like, what happens when we get a case. I think that would be good to share. So, like, you got the initial, was it a call or a text?
It was a text initially. And what we did was get a, yeah, here we go. I'll just see if I can manipulate it a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I got a text, and this is one of the video files that was attached. We're going to try this again, ladies and gentlemen. It should go up. You'll watch the foil move, and then blap, there goes the spatula, which is cool. So, multitasking paranoia is pretty funny. But I mean, and then the chair also moved. But when we get a call, a case, typically, it's a Q&A. But since this is over text almost exclusively, I guess she communicates better in that way versus talking on the phone. That's fine. I conducted, we got some information about what's going on, how long it's been happening. We got the 2 examples of what they're experiencing. And that's just the physical stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your...
Are you having fun over there?
Okay, so I'm trying to join the chat and it's making me do all these crazy login things. And so I was like, you know what, fine. I'm just going to pull up another bra. I'm so sorry, Tim.
That's okay. At least it was me. It was show related. But so anyway, we talk on the chat a little bit. I tell JJ what's going on. And when we get there, it is when I conduct my 30-question interview, and poor JJ has to wait in the car. So typically what we do is, it's both of us show up, she waits in the car and spiritually isolates herself. She puts up a buffer or a shield or whatever it is you want to put it, JJ. And I go in, I do the Q&A, and I inspect the different areas of interest with the camera. And that was basically what happened. And so I asked my 30 questions. It's a long list. And right then it's time for JJ to come in. So we bring her in, and she knows absolutely nothing about the case except for 1 or 2 small bits here and there. And that's kind of how I like to do it. So she comes in as fresh as possible and isn't influenced from anything from the outside. So JJ, I meant to ask you this on the day and I didn't. What were your first impressions as you hit the threshold of this place?
Well, it's interesting because you and I had talked when we picked the case up like a week before. And I told you, don't tell me anything. And basically just, here's what I got. And I got that someone with mental illness had dropped something off. It was a visitor, like a friend. And they had dropped something off that was upset in the house. And that more than likely we were going to get some interesting pushback from the people who lived there, even though they wanted us there. It was a weird situation with the info I was getting going into it. So we get there and I walk through the door, and normally we do these at night. There's 1 or 2 people there. This house was very active. There were, I don't know, like 4 or 5, 6 people.
Ended up being like 5 or 6 people there. Yeah.
Plus so that's dog. A lot of energy already. And, I've been hanging outside, getting to know the neighbors on the bus row. Super fun. So yeah, I walk in and immediately I'm hit. Like you walk into a living room basically, and immediately I got a step or 2 in and I just froze because the energy. First of all, it's very intense with that many people running around and just the house itself. Yeah. And so I said hi basically and said can I please go roam around. Because I needed to get to know the house without all the inhabitants first. Yeah. And there were, because you were following behind me, there were 7 spots that I got before, just on the left-hand side of the house, before we even got over by the people, right? Right. There was a lot. There's a lot going on there. Yeah. Yeah, so we hit all of those, and then we went over by the people. And that was interesting because my first assessments, which I had told you, is this is more the inhabitant related versus property. And it definitely was the case. The interesting thing about this, and for all of you in the chat, first of all, hi, I love all of you for showing up. Thank you.
Hi, Eric, and
I was so nervous about
Ms. Bloodfeather showed up and all that fun stuff. That's fantastic. Heidi's here too. Hi, Heidi. Yeah, all right. Heidi's a good buddy. Yeah. All right.
So, normally in these cases, you get people who they want us to come out. They want a diagnosis. They want to understand what's happening.
It wants some validation.
As well as just like what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So overall, I'm getting all of these markers saying we're going to have a lot of resistance in this situation, which is interesting because, I mean, the people themselves, they were so sweet, so nice.
Yeah.
They were. Everyone was pleasant and they wanted us. They're very inviting, like go anywhere you want. And, you know, I keep having to stop people. Don't tell me all the deets yet. Like, let me tell you first, and then you can share with me, because I really want a cold read. It's very, very easy if I'm getting something to hear what someone else is saying or feeling, and then your mind just goes, oh, well, it's this, instead of me doing what we do, which is investigating. Right. So tons from the people. And the interesting thing that we kept getting was I would ask a question, which I already knew the answer to, but I would ask a question and consistently the response would be no. And I'm like, I know that's not true. I'm asking you a rhetorical question. Like, I already know the answer. I just need you to understand where I'm going with this. Right. And so I'd kind of look at you and you'd be a little confused because, you know, I'm not normally that wrong. Not to toot my own horn, toot. But so then I would just make jokes and I'd kind of conversate about something else. And then all of a sudden, a couple minutes later, I'd hear, oh, yeah, you know, exactly what I had said. And they would come out, yeah, that makes sense. And there were some things that I picked up on, which were very delicate issues, right? Things that you wouldn't want to talk about with anybody, let alone your family and friends and people who might have been there when it happened. So I have to talk around stuff and take people outside. And outside was a trip, Tim. Yeah. You want to talk about the backyard?
Yeah. So again, following our usual procedure, I do the interview, walk through kind of a baseline situation, grab, you know, the basics of what the place kind of looks like and feels like on film. JJ comes in, does her evaluation, and then we kind of do a tech through. No, I'm sorry. We went outside to explore everything because I wasn't even told about garage till you showed up, which is interesting. So we all go outside. Oh, tell us about what's going on outside. So the garage, I take that back. I was shown the garage. But nothing else outside really, except for they found bags of coins at one point, a bunch of pennies along the fence line. That seemed quasi-ritualistic to me. Because all that copper, I mean, there's something about using copper similar to a salt line in some practices. So,
well, I mean, copper's a conductive material, so it makes sense. Like a lot of people who have EMF issues with EMF, I'll tell them, you know, line your shoes with old pennies or the end of your bed with copper. There's copper sheets and stuff. So that in and of itself doesn't necessarily concern me. What was interesting was there's this very nice spirit who his name was Sammy. He was an old farmer because that area used to be farmland.
It was all orchard. Yeah, it was right along the end. It was all orchard, and it was right along the creek bed.
Yes, which we had some wonderful geese come visit when we were outside. Fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, so I mean, like Sammy was harmless. He hangs around every once in a while. He was a farmer. He lived there. He's very pleasant. I asked him, is there anything in the garage you need to worry about? And he said, no, I think there was something with like a blanket that one of them kept shoving and it would fall. And he said, yeah, I don't like it there. Like it's close to where the heater used to be or something like that.
Right. It was a safety issue for Sammy. Yeah. That's
Right. And so he, you know, he's like, hey, I'm not doing this to be rude. I'm doing it like, you know, so the place doesn't burn down. Like, oh, good looking out. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
But behind the garage where the back fence was, there was nothing active, but there definitely was a memory of this very gross thing that had like slither crawled over the fence and looked at one of the friends. And he was the one who he was mainly in the bedroom most of the time when we were there, but he would usually pop out. And he made some delicious smelling hamburgers, by the way.
Excellent cook.
That was fun.
Excellent cook.
But what was interesting to me is, so we get done with all of that because, there wasn't a ton. I mean, there was someone who had been stabbed towards the front door in the driveway. That was the military man that they had seen, that I had seen. Right. And honestly, like, I've looked, and unfortunately that area at one point in the 80s and 90s had a ton of crime. And you could throw a dart and someone's been stabbed basically on that street.
Stab, shot, robbed, mugged. I mean, you name it, it all happened in that area. They kind of semi-gentrified it in the last 10 years. Cleaned up everything. It's
a lot safer now.
It is.
God, back in the day, you didn't really want to be walking down there, let alone driving.
Well, I wouldn't even take the case if it was like it was, honestly.
So the interesting part was, okay, there's a little bit of that. And so it culminates where we're all outside. All the inhabitants of the house plus us are outside. And Tim is standing to the side with the camera and he's kind of watching the interactions. And I look at the two main people who live there and I say, okay, you have three options. Would you like me to shake everything up and make it super duper active? Would you like me to clear everything? Or would you like me just to tell it to back up or do nothing?
Yeah.
And Tim immediately looks at me and starts to freak out because
I forgot what? You did this.
I've never said that before.
Yeah, I forgot you did this sometimes. It was on me.
That's fine. But the funniest part about it was, as Tim is sitting there having this bleep moment, and he's about to ring me out because he's thinking have you lost your mind? I look at him and I kind of give him the, shh, wait.
Yeah.
And then we watch their reactions. And the reason I did this is because every time we would ask them questions and they would say no. And then, 5 minutes later, the answer is, yeah, you're right. This did happen.
Right.
I started to see they don't want it gone in any way, shape, or form. And they basically said as such, the main person who lived there basically said, well, nothing you do is going to change anything. And I said, so you don't have faith?
Yeah.
And then the younger one who had been, what was it, the Hat Man type of thing that she had been seeing?
Yeah, she saw something at the foot of her bed, yeah.
I asked her specifically, would you like it gone? Because the entire hour and a half I'd been there so far, she's been telling me how horrible it was and how scary and this and that. And then when I ask, okay, I can make it go away. It's, oh, well, it hasn't done anything in a long time. It's not hurting anybody.
That was a weird response. Yeah.
Well, and so that's why I took my time and kind of let them talk a little bit. And from there, I'm able to see it's not my business. If someone doesn't want something gone, I'm not going to take it upon myself. It's like going over to someone's house and starting to clean without being asked. Don't do that. Maybe they maybe they're saving that dust bunny for some time later.
The cat likes to play with it.
Exactly. So in that regard, it was interesting because of the culmination where they didn't want anything to change. But we really did an interesting spirit box session. We had 3 spirit boxes going all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And the spirit boxes were actually answering each other. So they were making full sentences because one would say,
and they were saying things. Yes. Right. They were ping-ponging, but they're also saying confirmational things at the exact same time. 2 completely different machines. Yes. And they don't talk to each other.
No. And these are apps that don't run on the internet. So they're local, meaning they connect into a radio, but they're not, running on internet, i.e. they're not sitting there listening to you, just coming up with words. So it's fascinating to me, the amount of activity that we had. But I mean, in the end, the culmination was they have gifts and they just need to learn how to control them.
Yes.
But then there was the jaw dropper, which I'll say it from your lead up.
Say one more time. I kind of missed it. I was laughing.
The jaw dropper at the end with the family follower.
Oh, are you talking about the whole fear cage thing, or are you talking about the well, let me talk about the fear cage thing. Let me get to the end of that part. So first up, before we go there, I want to bring up Jackie's comment here, and she says how interesting it is that energies change between the inside and the outside. And that's very true. We found that to be the case forever, really, since we started doing this. So, yeah, the energies shift radically. And I think there's something to be said for kind of grounding outside as you're being outside. I think that has something to do with it. What do you think?
Yes, right. And also inside, it didn't matter how many lamps you put on, this place is just dark. It's small, the way that it's situated. It has a lot of shadows. It's interesting. So when we got outside, it was still semi-daylight. And it was like how the light changes everything. You can see all of a sudden. And all of a sudden, no one was freaking out. There's not something lurking in a shadow because there were no shadows.
Yeah. That was
so great point, Jackie. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent point. Okay, so what we typically do is we do a tech through. JJ has this little EMF detector / radiation detector, and we went through all the hot spots in the house, and we found that we're living in, and I don't know who coined the phrase. It could have been Jason Hawes, I'm not sure. But it's a fear box. So all this EMF was running into this house that was built in 1948, and apparently they never updated wiring. So you have uninsulated wiring in, almost 100-year-old house almost. And burning, especially the fuse box. I mean, it was bleeding through the walls, this orb of EMF that was pretty toxic. And then along the sides of the house, they had poles. Still, all their power was real. So all the power was running down into the things and in the house, and it was running alongside the tops of the house. And right where they were seeing things, it was like whatever was happening in there. And the ladies there especially are gifted. We agreed on that. I think it was just kind of bumping up whatever activity they were perceiving, and it's just kind of overclocked their minds in that respect, with regard to that specific talent, I guess you can call it. And that was my assessment anyway. But it was interesting when she says, yeah, well, I'm seeing something here, I'm seeing something there. So we go around with the machine, the detector, and yeah, sure enough, hot spot here, hot spot there. All EMF, burying the needle. They had some weird placements and stuff. Their Wi-Fi is right next to their door, and we walk in.
Which is right next to where they sit and watch.
Yes, TV. Right. Yeah, it's right next to the couch. So it's buried behind the couch, and we turn a little meter and we said, "See how red that is? That's really bad." So you might want to think about aligning that somewhere else.
And
I mean, they can't do too much about the wiring. It's like rewire the house.
True, but if you think about it, electrical EMF like that is a very easy way, just like water, for energy to come through and manifest, which is why
the creek running right by them.
Yeah,
I mean, they were getting inundated by all kinds of energy.
But that's why everything was so visible there. I mean, I was seeing, there was a lot. There were some parts of this that I'm going to dance around just to kind of keep their anonymity, but I had received information when we were inside the house that there was a family member who had an attachment.
Right.
And that said attachment was a generational attachment. So it got passed down. and that it wasn't passed down to them because his family member was still alive, but that this thing was trying to, and was coming around when this very specific person would show up. Well, what was interesting is the direct sibling of that family member ends up showing up at the house. And so he pops in, he's like, hey, here you have a question. I said, yeah, was so-and-so troubled? And I got that far. And the response was, oh my God, their entire life, like psychiatrist after psychiatrist. And I said, well, what about your grandmother taking them to like a healer? And they said, yeah, they were taken multiple times. And I said, okay. And they said, but the grandma who took them understood that the attachment they had came from her because she had it originally. And then when the other one was born, it passed down. But what ended up happening is this person with the attachment likes it and has really leaned into just being a really mean, awful personality. Apparently, they have redeeming qualities, but everyone I talked to who knew this person was like, yeah, like they're known for being a major bleep word.
And he said it too. I'm surprised.
Yeah. So what was interesting is I thought, okay, I'm going to table that for a little bit. And then when we did the spirit box session, we were in the kitchen during that because we wanted to go inside so we could actually hear, especially with 3 spirit boxes going. And we're standing in there, the spirit boxes are going, and all of a sudden I look up and this ancient Aztec deity basically tries to bum rush in the windows because we were in like a little kitchen nook.
Right.
And I'm like, whoa. I felt like the lady from the farm with her emu, where I'm like, stop. So I stop it, and I was like, because I barricaded the house with a bubble and protection just so we could figure out what we were dealing with at that point. Right. And also, I didn't want us exposed to it. I was tired. It was a long day.
It was a long day.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to figure out, like, what is this? So eventually I end up going outside. And Tim, you've seen me at many investigations. I normally don't smoke.
Not on site, no.
No. And normally, like, I'll leave or it's 1 or 2 and I'm fine. But, I mean, your girl was smoking up a storm. And they were fine with it. It wasn't an issue. So I went outside, and as I'm smoking, it's attracted to the tobacco. And so I'm asking, okay. And it's like, oh, is that for me? And I said, well, not necessarily, but like, we can chat. And so what I got was that it was a very, very old.
Take it, Chucky. Chucky has to leave.
Oh, bye, Chucky. It was a super old entity that had made a deal with this family a very long time ago. Like, I'm not even putting years on it. We're talking,
a while.
Pyramids were being built generations ago.
Right.
And over time, like, everyone in the family knew how to work with it, how to honor it. Their deal was a deal.
Right.
And then when Catholicism really came in and had stripped all that culture away and had replaced, fear everything, right? If it's not Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
And they were no longer doing the old ways. It was getting angry, which is why the family member that it was mainly attached to was so angry, because they also didn't know what to do with it. And so when they leaned into being a insert word there, that was giving it a sense of power. It was getting some emotional energy from it finally, and just becoming a part of a personality. And also, it wasn't happy. It had really nothing to do. It was bored. And the last thing you want is a bored entity who is, we'll call it neutral, right? Because it's willing to do good or bad for you depending on the deals. And so it when I say neutral, meaning like it doesn't have the same morals and values we do. And all of a sudden it's bored and it just wants to become a chaos gremlin. It's not going to leave on its own because of the bind, that it's. Anyway, Sheila's question is wonderful.
Sheila's question, yes. She asks, if people reach out to you for help but don't want to clear anything out, they reach out to begin with. Is it just to confirm there's something there? Sometimes, yes. Most times they do call us for help. I mean, to get rid of this stuff. And that's because of JJ, we are able to do that. And I've told the story on my show several times how she was on her first night there. We threw her into the deep end and she kicked some serious butt, spiritually speaking, of course. Yeah, it is. Validation is certainly a part of it. Some people do stop there, but most people want it gone. But JJ's analysis rang pretty true. They weren't ready to have all that gone because there's already some other issues happening with them that are going to just exacerbate, and they have to kind of get their ducks in a row before anything can really be done to alleviate them of the spiritual attachment. So that's where we're at in the case right now. Actually, we're in from the stuff together. There's a few things that have to happen before the DP can come to pass. I think it would be another couple of months before we are able to even do anything about it.
Well, and I had tasked one of the family members to prepare a specific meal and to thank this entity for its years of service while it was preparing it. And that specific meal has a lot of parts to it. It takes a very long time to make it, and it's not labor intensive so much as it's just timely. And there's so many moving parts to it. But all of those moving parts have a spiritual basis and connection with this entity. So that was the homework for one of them, to see if you do this and it's getting a little appreciation. Don't give it things to do, but just say, hey, thank you. We're appreciative of the fact you've been with our family for so long, and we're sorry we don't really know what to do with you. And start loosening those bonds of seeing how the family member changes, who's afflicted, and also seeing how the activity morphs and changes. And also just the inhabitants learning about their own abilities and how to protect themselves and how to handle themselves if they want to. Not everyone wants to. A lot of people invite us out because it's fun and they've seen a show and they want confirmation, but like, we're not Zach Baggins. I'm not going to sit here and narrate in a monotone voice and scream and run out of the house, because if I scream and run out of the house, everyone should be following me.
Hot on her heels for sure. Mine for that matter. Now, I wanted to talk about something interesting that did happen outside, especially with me. I was the first one that felt it. If you've ever been outside or even inside with anyone and maybe you're roughhousing with a brother or sister, this typically happens when you're younger, or maybe you're about to get in a fight in a bar, I don't know. It depends on your experience, really, but you feel someone rushing at you at the last second and you turn around and come on, let's go. Well, that's exactly what happened to me, if you recall. And I was pretty surprised by it. I said, what the heck was that? And JJ said, fill him in. It's all good, is what you said. I stopped him.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to figure out which one, because you did that twice.
Yeah, the first time was like a bluff check. It was like a bluff charge. And then the second time, I felt something really coming. And I was like, what the hell was that? But please, that was, we definitely ticked something. Now, my question was this the hat guy, or was this the attached spirit to the family?
I want to say that was something else. There was a lot going on. I mean, and we not only had the two people who actually lived there, but like I said, 3 or 4 other people who didn't, who brought their own fun bag of items, shall we say, to the party.
Yeah.
You know, at one point towards the end, they were like, well, how many spirits are here? And I was like, including your spirit teams and stuff, because it's going to be a big number. You know, do I want to count all that high? Not necessarily. But it's so fascinating to me in some of these cases. And I'm not mocking anyone. It might sound like that, but truly, just from someone like me who has lived with this my whole life, I understand it. For me to see people who don't understand that we are constantly around so many different things. It's mind-boggling, because to me, you know, eventually and soon, when the veil is completely gone and the convergence and the shift happen and we're living with everything around us in full plain sight, I mean, some people are going to evacuate their nether regions.
To say the least. Sheila adds something else that happened to me when JJ popped over my house once. I was like, something is rushing at me. Nope, just JJ making sure everything is good. That's interesting. Why don't you fill us in on what that was, if you can?
Well, it depends on which time, but I've worked with Sheila a lot. So with Sheila's house, Sheila is extremely sensitive, but she also knows how to mute it.
Oh, interesting. If
it gets too much for her, she just like puts headphones and blinders on and she lives her merry, happy little life. Oh, the night you opened up, girl.
Yeah, Sheila adds.
Okay. All right.
It was night I opened up is what she was referring to. Go ahead.
So Sheila, I hope you don't mind me giving your story, because I love this story. So when I first met Sheila, she reached out to me, very first podcast I was ever on ever, Eric from Uncomfortable Show.
Eric's here. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Go ahead.
I'm blessed to have all these wonderful friends in here, by the way. So
for sure,
she emailed me, and she even said in the email, I have no clue. I haven't even listened to the rest of the podcast. Like, I got 15 minutes in. I just need to email you. I kind of don't even know why I'm emailing you. But I'm really not into the spiritual stuff. I really don't want to be, but like, hi. So, okay. So we became friends. We emailed pretty much every day, just light, normal stuff. Like, how's your life? How are the kids? How's the weather? You know, and I laugh because there'll be times that people will reach out to me and they'll be like, I really don't know why I'm reaching out. And I said, that's okay. It'll explain itself in time. And then I just sit and wait because eventually it'll make sense. And so, so it moves along, and I had a group chat with a couple gals who we all listen to the same Uncomfortable podcast, and we were all fans, and we all just chatted. And I thought, okay, well, we're all talking on the side, so like, let's all talk together. And so one night something was going on where I said, okay, ladies, I need you to use your spiritual gifts and help. And Sheila said, well, I'm willing to participate, but I really don't know what I'm doing. And I said, that's fine. Just jump on in. The water's warm. And she completely and utterly opened up, and not only, you know, kicked major patootie spiritually, but did things naturally that she had no clue how she was even doing it, let alone, I mean, no one was talking her through it. No one, I loved it. She is what I would call like a green spirit worker or a green witch, depending on which term you like or don't. And in her mind, instead of just energy streams, she streams out like plants for protection, for soothing. She can make it rain for soothing change and work with the weather. She has incredible talent. And she also is able to turn it on and turn it off. And so that night when she was working, something started to bum rush her, and she felt it and kind of got freaked for a minute. And I was like, it's fine. Don't even worry about it. And now I'm able to go over once in a while and astrally hop over and give her hugs and say hi to the kids and the dogs. And what's also really exceptional, in case anyone thinks spiritual work doesn't work, she was right in the path of tornadoes this last batch, this horrendous batch where the Midwest just got hammered.
Yeah.
And literally she's camping out in the bathtub with the kids, her mom on one phone, I'm on the message, and we're watching the radar. And I said, okay, I'm going to town. And she worked with me to really bubble her house. Well, literally the storms went around her house.
Really?
And we have actual the meteorological screenshots to show it. It's
I wish you had those. That would be awesome to share.
I'll send you some. Yeah, it's super incredible. And all of you that are in the chat, I love all of you because it's true. Like, it always starts with the first email and then things just progress. And it's so near and dear to my heart. It makes me want I'm all for clipped. But it's true. I love the interactions, and I adore when I've met someone and I know exactly, like, a snapshot of who they are at that moment. And then whether it's months or years or sometimes even weeks later, to see their progression in such a short amount of time that makes my heart soar. So thank you, Rob.
It's outstanding.
Yeah,
no, it's good to have those positive interactions. I see a bird. Yes. Hello.
You're famous.
That's her pet bird.
This is my child, Tim.
No, excuse me. Child, excuse me.
But yeah, back to the case.
Yeah, exactly.
Went everywhere I knew it would. But yeah, speaking of cases,
yes,
something fantastic. I was doing a clearing for somewhere else. You were not involved because it was all remote. She's just going to live in my head now. This is how it's working. So I'm doing this case, and I'd heard from everyone involved that there was something in the basement. And so I astrally go down to the basement, and I hear this little scuffling in the corner. And I'm like, okay, what is that? And lo and behold, it was a satyr or a fawn. And it was very, very sweet. So incredibly sweet. He was orphaned, which made me a bit upset. I don't know what she did to my hair. It is what it is. It's fine.
No, you're good.
And yeah, so extremely interesting. And
Dora and Narnia. Sorry, Sheila popped in.
I love it.
Dora and Narnia down there.
You're not wrong. So there's a lot going on in that house too. But yeah, so the cool thing is I've actually been wanting to meet one for a good long while. But he was very, very sweet. It took me about 5 minutes conversing with him to get him to actually like come out and chat with me a little bit. But the really interesting thing is, so when I tell the family towards the end, they were like, well, that's interesting because we always hear someone walking up the stairs after us, and it's very loud, audible footsteps that other people can hear. So it's not just the person walking. It's like everyone in the house can hear it. Well, of course, because he's got hooves, He's loud. So at the end, I introduced him to the lady of the house and told them, you guys are going to be friends. And then at the end, he took me by the hand and took me outside and showed me that he was going to go on a little hunt or journey or whatever. He had like a little bag, I think, to pick berries or something. Isn't that sweet?
That's interesting. Yeah, that's very cool. So he's out. Okay, so is this what you mean by the veil dropping? All these different entities that we used to see all the time in the ancient times are gonna start filtering back in. Now, is this cyclical? Does this happen on a cyclical thing? Because
it's just a big long cycle. What's very, very curious. we've all heard about revelations from the Bible, right? People think Christ is coming back and apocalypse and Armageddon, all the things, right? And I'm not negating any of that. But it's interesting how almost all cultures have some sort of end times talk. But it's not necessarily like the world is going to end. And there's something in the Bible when it talks about, Christ will come back like a thief in the night. No one will know the date and time. And it talks about all these different signs associated with it, of that's when it's going to happen. Well, apparently it's happening September of 2025. And so I went back and actually read the verses because there was a person who did a whole talk on it. We probably spammed all of you in the chat with that video. And the really, really interesting thing about it, though, is when you listen to it, it's not talking about the end of the world. It's talking about the veil being completely gone and us seeing what we've been coexisting with that we have no clue. And that really is going to be the end to the ego of humanity, because how can we sit here and think, oh, we're so important and we're the only things, when, sorry, buddy, you may think that you're the only one paying rent and living here, but, in reality, you're housing like 1,500 little elves, duendes, and all sorts of wonderful things. So, yeah.
So, and Amanda, hello, Amanda. She said this. Oh, hell yeah, I missed that. She's excited for the veil of the Fall. That's fantastic.
Love it.
That's incredibly, and I've been hearing others speak on that too. But will they be tariff jacking? Probably. No.
Pause on all tariffs.
That's a great comment. Sorry, I'm still dying on that one. It's interesting to note that you're not the only one saying that, and it's being said constantly. It's the first I've heard a date associated with it, though.
Well, I mean, I've been talking about this since October of 2022, and I'm not trying to get brownie points for it's me. I don't care. Everyone else, I tell everyone that I don't care if it comes from me or not. But I want people to understand that what I've been talking about of us getting prepared for is being talked by other people. It might be in different ways. It might be in, whether it's a matter of, oh, I'm seeing this through a biblical lens, or a lens of insert other religion there, or spiritual lens, or you want to call it 3D, 5D, or mass ascension, or the aliens are coming. I mean, it's all the same thing. It's just a matter of how it manifests. And it is all the same thing.
Excuse me. If everything is basic, oh my gosh, you just gave all the credence in the world to my paranormal M3. Thank you. That clicked for me. But, okay, so paranormal M theory is basic, for those of you who don't know, all the paranormal stuff is related, basic, like one degree or another, be it over centuries or, last week. There is a relationship to all this different weird stuff that we've been experiencing over centuries. And if JJ is correct, and I believe she is at least to one degree or another, that this entire no, it's a compliment, absolutely. This cyclical veil diminishing and reappearing, it's all part of the same thing, like you're saying. So if that is the case, if we are heading toward that, does that mean that we are going to experience, if we ever did really experience it, what might be known as magic? Like the ethereal stuff. Like old school wizard stuff, flinging flames from your fingers and just because you're thinking about it, kind of thing.
The thing
or
is
that too
that's
far-fetched?
Happening now. That's happening now.
Yeah.
Whether people, honestly, people like myself, right, who can do things like that. It's not always on command, like David Blaine, first of all. Let's just keep that real, okay? And if it was on demand, like, awesome, let's discuss. But it happens. And when it happens, it's usually the first instinct. Well, I'll speak for myself, not other people. The first instinct I've had when things like that have manifested is, oh, bleep, I don't want everyone to freak out and make me a pariah. So you try to make nice and all the things, right, in order for people to be calm and composed. But I mean, I remember there was a situation a long time ago, and I was really angry. This person had done some really terrible things, and I was extremely angry. And as I walked out of the house, I said, be careful, because you're playing with fire. And if you play with fire, you're going to get burned. And then I slammed the door and walked off in a huff. Well, in their house, they had a washer and dryer that were unplugged. They were getting ready to sell them. So they were just waiting for someone to come pick them up. So they're sitting there, and the other person with them, who I knew really well, is, talking to them like, why do you do that? Like, you're going to have to figure out how to make this right. Like, she's really mad, type of thing. And then all of a sudden the smoke alarms in the house all start to go off. And they're like, what do you, like, no one's smoking or no one's here. And mind you, there's only one entry and exit into this home. Okay. And it was the one that I went out of. So it's not like someone else walked in. They were standing by the door. And they walk around the corner, and the washer and dryer, both of them, had flames coming out of them.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
okay.
Absolute flames. And so, I mean, they're sitting there trying to figure out what's going on, because they're not plugged in. They're not on. They haven't been plugged in for over a week. And how are their flames? There was nothing ignitable in either one. So there's nothing that should have been burning or was a fuel source. But obviously when that happened, and, everyone's going to hear about it. Oh my gosh, she's so mad. She threatened me, and then she, blew up my washer and dryer that weren't plugged in. She's a witch. Count the nipples. Sheila, that one was for you. So, when that whole thing happened, my whole thing is, oh, it could have been this, it could have been that. They could have been telling tall tales, because I'm thinking, oh, great. Like, don't piss me off now, because I'm going to make something burn. And that's not how I am. I don't want to be a scary person. But usually when these things manifest, they manifest in a time of extreme emotionality. Oh, and so I love Eric so much.
Oh, Eric. So fun. She turned me into a newt once. That's too funny.
It's true. It's true. I turned him back, though. Not quite human, but
he can lick his own eyeball now. It's interesting.
Exactly. Love that.
Oh, like how newts do?
Yeah, he's got 260-degree eyeball views. Oh my gosh. Okay, don't kill Tim on his own shelf.
Yeah, do not. Yes.
But yeah, so I mean, these things are already happening. There is a video of a man, I want to say it's China, from years ago, where he was doing qigong work and was able, someone filmed a couple minutes of it. And there are a few people who have it on ancient hard drive somewhere, and they've, put them in storage and hid them, because that thing got scrubbed from everywhere. But
is this the guy who moved the brick?
There's that, and then he also shot fire, and he did something else. He melted something.
Oh, and crazy.
But I've seen people. I saw someone walk through a wall once. It was a human being, very tangible. I knew them, and they walked through a wall. So things like this happen. Are they happening just because I'm lazy and don't want to go through the door? No. But they are happening. It takes
excessive forces or a lot of duress.
Yeah, but I do see it ramping up.
I said forces. I meant focus. I'm sorry. Excessive focus or a lot of duress.
I thought you meant like forest through the trees.
Yeah. I just can't talk today.
I also have been woken up a couple times in the past week and a half, screaming. because I
You
am
mentioned that to me. Yeah.
yeah. Not the funnest thing.
What was forcing you to scream? Do you know?
Well, one of them was I saw this child just jump up on my husband and straddle his legs. And at first I'm like, okay, who is this little boy and why is he here? And everything looks like the room. Like the only difference is the lights were on in this. And then his face changes into something not a human child and then proceeds to start attacking him. And I'm flailing like this, trying to get him off. And in my head, I'm not screaming, but apparently I was screaming bloody murder and like thrashing at the air.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. A couple months ago, I actually woke. I don't know how I did this. I went from laying down to standing straight up in bed, screaming and kicking.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I've been seeing these things at night, and at first they kind of looked like spider jellyfish plants almost. Like they weren't really sentient, but they would just kind of be there, just doing this weird undulating thing. And they would move. If I sent them light, they would move. Well, last night they turned into these weird spirals. And they're all over and they're super vivid. Now, mind you, I've been to doctors. I do not have sleep apnea. I do not have an eye problem. I have had all my levels tested. I'm fine. I mean, yes, in the past week I was running a fever, but this wasn't fever dreams. Actually, You want to know the best dreams I ever had in my whole entire life?
Good.
It's when I had COVID. Yeah. Sick as a dog years ago, the first run with it, I dreamt of unicorns and like rainbow clouds. And it was so happy. And I was like, I've never had good dreams in my life. Like, this is amazing. Yeah, who knows? Just took a weird virus, right? But there were these spirals and they're so vivid, Tim, that I am awake. So I go from being asleep, something jolts me so that I feel like I need to wake up. And I look around the room and I am seeing these things 3D all over the room. And as I get up, stand up, go turn on the light, they're still there. And then slowly they fade. It's very odd.
I've had a very similar experience once. When I was younger,
but not consistent, not lately.
Yes, it lingered. It was such a strange thing. I'm going to put this up from Sheila first, not to take us off topic, but a random thought from Sheila was: what if ghosts are people astral projecting? Ooh. She thinks it might be silly, but I think she might have something there to one degree or another. Thoughts?
I like that. I mean, are they even ghosts?
Yeah, if you're astral projecting, you're pretty intangible, and maybe you can make yourself, if you're intangible, but you can still make yourself visible. Who knows? It depends, I guess, on how powerful you feed that ability.
Well, for me, a technical ghost means it is a spirit who is human, died, and refuses to cross over. They want to stay earthbound. That is a true ghost. I mean, so kind of they could if they wanted to.
Yeah. I've never known an astral projector to actually move things, though.
I have.
Not. Oh, you have? Okay.
Oh,
well, then maybe we're on to something.
I've gone through drawers and.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good, because Sheila brings up that fact in the separate thing. Right there. Maybe that's why they're able to move things. So,
well, the other thing is
possible.
We're coexisting with all of this stuff.
And as you said, the veil is dropping.
And there are people who just...
I gotta put this So you're saying, Eric puts it up. So you're saying I could astral project and see someone taking a shower, asking for a friend. If you have the ability to, and you're that kind of pervert, yeah, go ahead.
I will be showering in an iron cast lead.
Let that bubble up.
Will everyone else from now on.
I don't know how practicing
technically
is.
You can, Eric. I have had people actually try to come in while I was sleeping, bathing, all sorts of weird things.
Right. Good.
Don't recommend doing that. I
Please
personally have a certain set of spells over my home, so that if you enter here and you are not given clearance to do so, it is not a pleasant experience. If Jason is still in the chat, he'll love this one. He tried to jump over here once, and I had told him, hey, you need to wait, like, because I have to let you in. And he ends up coming in a little bit early. And then he popped right back out because he was on the toilet for about 2.5 hours after.
Oh, good times.
Yeah. And then proceeded to tell everyone in my Discord about it. Of like, don't do that. She's not joking.
Well, now you have a case in point. Someone to refer to.
Yes.
Really briefly, everyone, we are going to take a quick station identification and commercial break. We will be back in 80 seconds. See you in a few. This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN talkradio.com. Esoteric programming at its finest.
Our symbol, the trident. Gifted to us by the priests of Troy Xenos centuries ago when one of the first monster hunting teams out of Corinth battled a contingent of Vrykula that had infested their temple. After the victory over the monsters, the head priest declared, "You are 3 lances acting as one, not unlike Poseidon's mighty trident of light. That would become our name, the Trident of Light, for the good we did and still do against the dark evils of this world."
Available at Amazon Books.
Follow us on Instagram at paranormal.insight. Stay informed on upcoming shows, ask questions, and see what chilling paranormal stories we're following. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at paranormal_insight. Click the live tab to see our latest videos. Okay. It cut off on my end. I don't know if it cut off on your end. Welcome back. This is Paranormal Insight. We're with my paranormal partner at S.C.A.R.I, JJ Rose. Let us pick up where we left off.
Where did we leave off?
We left off with, the chat just went brrr as we were going through this station identification. So I'm just trying to... So I'm just trying to catch up, and it has been... it's just blown up in chat right now. If you're missing the chat right now, you're missing a lot of entertaining stuff, I must say. Most of which I can't repeat on the air.
True.
Too funny. Yeah, so we were talking... Okay, let's briefly look at... first off, let me tell my little story. I think I told it to you and Eric once when we were on his show, but I don't think I ever told it here on my show. My experience where things were still tangible after I woke up, I was laying in my room. I think I was just out of high school. It was prior to me going into the Air Force, so it was very early 90s. Sorry. And I'm sitting there, and whether I was dreaming or not, I'm still not sure to this day, because my eyes pop open, and suddenly my room is not my room. Outside my window, there's a blinking red neon sign. Okay. And my room, again, not my room, it's like one of those old school single room apartment kind of deals, everything's kind of compressed. There's the kitchenette and there's the bathroom and there's a sink and yada, yada, yada. And that's where I'm at. And I'm not myself either, because I get up, I'm thirsty, and I go to get a glass of water from this sink that isn't in my room normally. And there's a mirror there, and I have longish hair. Back when I had hair, I have longish hair, like the Weapon Milkenstein, you know? And I take a drink, and I got a scruffy beard, and I was like, I gotta try and get back to sleep, and I'm like this. I get my hands under the pillow when I lay down, and I can feel the gun there. And suddenly the door gets kicked in, and this dude, I mean a gorilla of a dude, pops in. He looks like he's an old school detective. He's got a fedora. He's got a trench coat, thin little skinny tie. Other than that, he's mostly in shadow. And he reaches like this. Well, I respond, and bap, bap. We both exchange fire. He goes down, slumped to the floor. And then I get up, and I'm holding my gut. And that's kind of where I semi-wake up. The room around me morphs back into my room. And I'm looking at my hand, at my stomach, and I'm holding it. And I put my hand away, and there's blood on my hand. And I'm still in the process of, I guess, waking up. I don't know. But it seems like everything just kind of faded away, even though my eyes were open. It's like I fell asleep with my eyes open, basically. And it just stayed there for a while. Then finally, I'm super scared. I actually get up, go into my bathroom, and I look, and I lift up my shirt, and I make sure I'm okay, and there's nothing there. I go back to my room. Our room is normal. There's no blinking light outside my window, and I don't know what that was. And that's the only time it ever happened.
Unfortunately, when I sleep, most of the time I'm not me. So, I call them dreams. They're not dreams, but I'm somewhere else. I'm doing other things. I'm someone else. I've been a man. I haven't been human a lot. And I've been other things. It's those odd ones though, where it's a little too close. And you wake up, thinking that something is happening, right? Yeah. I've had those where I went and looked at my face, or like you were saying, where you're looking because something clearly happened.
Yeah.
And yet nothing's there. The weird one, though, is we know a few people who have had experiences where they've woken up and now they have scars that they never had before.
Oh, yeah. What about that?
Yeah. See if we can get them on your show one of these days.
Yeah, one of these days. That would be fascinating. Super
interesting. But yeah, where they have physical scars that there wasn't one before. I've had things where it's, in your experience, it almost feels like you jumped into somebody else or a parallel life.
It felt like a parallel life. I was just going to say that.
Well, and the thing of it is we're existing here, but we're also existing on multiple levels. And we're not all us in all those levels. We don't look like us, but different levels of it. Mm-hmm. In regards to Heidi was talking about this entity. It was someone who had passed on very suddenly. It sounded like he OD'd. That is a roommate of a neighbor, or was a roommate of a neighbor. And so I had asked her, is he an active or is he a recurring memory? So when it comes to ghosts, people who have passed on, they're active, meaning they are here and they are actively talking with you, doing things, they're current events, right?
Right.
And then there are memory loops. And those are the ones where you'll hear like, oh, we often see, grandpa walking down the hall, going to the bathroom like he did every day. He's not interactive. He will not interact with you. You could call out to him. You could say hi. You could walk right through him. It's just like an energetic memory loop.
Yeah.
That
happened to
that
a buddy
just
of mine.
persists. It's not active. Whereas active is one that like it will talk with you. It will do EVPs. It will do spirit board sessions. It will do Ouija boards, whatever you do. And all of that is fine. Just make sure that you know how to protect yourself and you know how to close it out as long as you're comfortable with it. Do I recommend people do this by themselves? No, but I also do it by myself in the dark, you know, at night on a full moon because I'm fun.
Kick it up a
I
notch.
also watch scary movies by myself in the dark, and then I'm like, why did I do that? Like that was silly.
dude.
You know?
You're kind of a spiritual masochist.
You know, but to be honest, compared to some of the things that I've seen in real life, like most of those movies are easy.
Yeah,
you know?
fair point.
Like,
fair point.
They're entertainment to me, but not all of them. Some. It takes a lot to scare me. But yeah. And like Jackie was saying, when people pass away, they often visit her in dreams. And a lot of people get that, to be honest.
That happened to me numerous times.
Yeah, and I have multiple people in my life who I call them human death detectors. They don't even know who it's going to be, but their behavior significantly changes right before someone's going to die.
That happens to my mom sometimes. She's one of those people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had her on my show early on, and she talked all about it.
Yeah, and the thing with it is, until they understand it and they see the pattern, it's very difficult for them to understand, like, why do I suddenly feel a certain way?
Right.
So Heidi says, we have a pathway that I see people walk down the hallway and they don't interact, but I'm not sure about him. I don't get a lot from him. I saw him once as a 7-foot tall energy with the white swirl.
Of smoke.
Well, Heidi, honey, if you would like an investigation or me to pop over one day and take a look,
she's in Colorado, PS.
I can astrally get there. It's much cheaper than gas and flights right now. But yeah. So typically on things like that, just so you guys understand, there are certain things that I can kind of feel into immediately and be like, oh yeah, it's probably this or it's probably that. But in certain instances, especially something like this, where it's not your house and it's something you haven't seen all the time, I like to go check it out myself more for the mere fact of it allows me to get a little more information for you and be more direct. Not everything falls into neat boxes.
Oh, rarely. Really?
Yeah.
Rarely.
And especially lately, nothing has. Everyone who has come to me lately, oh, I'm sure it's this. Can you check it out? And I check it out. And like I said, I found a fawn or a satyr. Was not expecting that. They thought they had a demon in the basement.
Interesting.
Fays are very active right now, Heidi, especially when it's spring and fall, depending on what direction of the world that you live in. I deal with a lot of Australians lately. So, but the elementals are wonderful. And honestly, for the most part, they're super duper friendly. And the house fae, I mean, you know me, everything's friendly until it's not.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. They're speaking of fae, I want to jump into our other case, the Livermore case, where you experienced a what would you say it was a nature spirit?
Yes.
Okay. You want to talk about that briefly?
Yeah, I know I've talked about it on your show before, but so here we are, middle of nowhere, walking up this cow patty lane, basically on a hill.
It's a cow path for sure.
In the dark. Exactly. Can I pet that dog?
No.
Although I still will. So it's nighttime. I think I'm in flip-flops. I don't know. I'm in some ridiculous foot. Or no, I did bring actual tennis shoes for this one. Someone warned me. Thank you, Tim. Finally.
You're very welcome.
So I I'm walking with a group of people and I'm kind of taking the lead, and the person who lived in the house is kind of behind me chatting with somebody else. And all of a sudden, I mean, from this big barren field, this thing is charging. And I don't mean running, I mean charging. Like, think cheetah and gazelle in Africa in a plane. This is how I'm feeling about it. And so I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, okay, is that real or is that other? Okay, it's other. And I'm like, what is that? And so I stop it, and it's this, I don't even know how to describe it. Imagine like a squirrel and a raccoon and a baby koala, like all had a weird baby. And it is chittering and it is mad and it really wants him. But I'm like standing in front, blocking. I'm like, whoa, 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 talk to me. Yeah. And finally I get it calmed down, and it tells me that the guy who lived there, he shot squirrels and those were its people. And it was very mad. And so I ask him, and he lies and basically gives a tall tale. And I said, well, you need to apologize. And then he gives a half butt answer of an apology. And that didn't help anybody anymore, but I got it to calm down. Well, the nice thing is, like I said, I make friends easy. It wanted friends. It wanted love. And so it asked if it could hang out with me. And so I had it sit on my hip like a baby koala for the rest of the investigation. And when we left, I said, okay, I remember we were in the van, and then I said, okay, I've got to go drop this off. And so I took it to the side of the house, and I said, okay, I'm going to leave. You can come with me and I can rehome you, or you can stay here. Like, you're going to have more fun here, because where I live, there's not that much to do. And it said, I'll stay. And I cried. I'm over there on the side of the house, wiping my tears, crying. This thing's crying, give a big old hug and said goodbye. But I mean, I tell these stories not because they're fun and sweet and it's something to talk about, but also because I want people to understand you don't have to be so afraid. These things, just like people, if you're nice to them, 89 to 94% of the time, they're going to be nice back.
Nice statistics. I like this. It's true.
Exactly. I mean, there are things that, they're just not, right? True. But for the most part, if you're kind and you say, hey, exactly like Heidi said, peacefully coexist. Yeah. And in reality, they're living just like we are. And we're sometimes in their way.
True.
Just true. Be kind.
Mort's here. Hello, Mort. And no, I couldn't agree more. That's something you just, even in the back of your head, even if you're not totally convinced that any of this stuff is really happening, I say better safe than sorry, and just kind of roll with the punches. You know what I mean? Because it's gonna get a bit extra weird in the coming year, So,
and right now it is April 10th of 2025.
Yeah, not far off.
And if you think right now is already weird, just wait.
Yeah. This is first gear.
Bruh.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of April 10th, big happy birthday to my buddy Alan. Alan is serving us overseas, so thank you for your service, Alan, and happy birthday.
Thank you, Alan.
And
happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah, man.
I hope you're somewhere tropical.
He isn't, but nice. I happen to know where he's deployed, but he isn't. You can hope. Maybe it has some tropical. There's tropics nearby.
Okay, well, there's that.
Yeah, happy birthday to Alan from everyone in the chat as well.
Exactly.
And thank you for that. I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
And happy belated birthday to you, Tim.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, mine was on March 29th.
Mostest.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I still have your birthday present, by the way.
Oh, excellent.
You're going to have to show everyone. when you get it.
Right now?
No, because I don't have it to give it to you.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Yep.
That's fine. Oh, thank you, Heidi. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, all the viewers. Yeah, happy birthday.
Oh,
Appreciate that.
everyone's so wonderful.
Yeah, we have. Glad you were
Amazing,
born. Oh,
amazing.
that's super sweet. I just read that. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Love that.
Yeah, today,
have
this
anything
birthday
else?
was not the... Huh? Oh, anyway, I was going to say...
But it wasn't fun because you were sick.
I was sick. Yeah, I was sick. I said that in my little message on Instagram, but yeah,
Well, you
I was sick on my birthday.
with me, dude, and you got
Yeah,
sick.
dude, I missed out on the best. So we'll have to get together, do a lunch or a dinner or something and rectify that. And stuff.
And stuffs.
And stuff. So, we're,
Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Okay, so we covered the case that we just did.
Yeah. I kind of want to touch on something about that, though, regarding our most recent case. When we were talking about the, how I called it a fear cage and the energy. I want to talk to you about energy more than anything. So we can, as humans, especially gifted folks like yourself, who have the ability to detect these energies a little bit better. I'm actually kind of super sensitive when it comes to EMF, and it is both a gift and a curse because it gives me a pretty gnarly headache. But are these energies kind of, whether man-made or not, are they universally interchangeable when it comes to like involving the spiritual world and stuff like that? I mean, can you feed off quartz energy versus, direct current from a power line, for example? Or, I mean, what are these entities really feeding off of when it comes to energy? And it's abstract too. We were discussing this on that case, that fear is a big driver, a big consumable source for some of these entities. I guess, so that's my question. Are they just able to feed on whatever's around, or do they like certain things or whatever?
I think anything and everything is adaptable. I'm going to stick to just Earth. Okay. At this point, because if I get into other planets, I think that's going to get a little too complicated. But the reality of it is that on this planet, there are entities that feed on negative and positive energy. And you're going to have very specific things that are going to gravitate towards either one of the polarities. But if they're starved, meaning there's no food source, there are other things that they will start to feed on in order to figure out how to make it work. And now I am on this show all by myself. This is super fun. Hi, I'm JJRose, and I'm running Tim's channel. This is fun. So in regards to his question, until he hopefully pops back on here, hi everyone. So in regards to energy sources, you have natural sources, which are going to be crystals, rocks, earth, people, right? Just energies within the weather. And then you're going to have emotional sources that come from people and animals and other things. And then you're going to move on a little bit further into things such as, like he was saying, DC current, or things that humans have actually made. And I think everything is adaptable. I absolutely love you all in the chat for keeping me company, because this is very odd that I'm on here all by myself. I kind of don't understand how this is possible, but I love it. So yeah, in regards to energy sources, it's difficult for me to give a firm answer. If you were to go off of Earth and go on to another planet, everything is going to be a lot different. So you know, in other planets, you're going to have different sources for different things that eat different things. I love all of you in the chat for all of this. I actually don't know what to do at this point because I feel like I just took over his entire show, which is fun. He just messaged me that his internet passed away. So we will have to get that fixed. But oh, if you guys could see the comments right now, you are amazing. Great Mother Herbs. I love you. So, great question. How would someone take Earth source energy and use it? You can use Earth source energy in all sorts of different various ways. Whether it's using it like a power source to fuel yourself up, whether it is using it in order to do different things, whether it's physical, spiritual, or that all in between. Question about quartz. Go ahead and ask. Quartz magnifies. Okay. I'm going to answer your question before you type it and wait for you to type it. But quartz magnifies. So anything, think of quartz like Jupiter, right? Jupiter in astrology, it makes everything bigger. It magnifies it. So in your instance where you're using quartz, you want to use it in conjunction with something else. So you cannot use it to keep your internet up and running. Sorry. So if you were doing spell work for, I want more of something, or I want something to grow, you would use whatever herbs, spices, whatever you use, and quartz to magnify it. If you are trying to go on a diet, right, where you're trying to shrink, you do not want to be using quartz in that. You want to use something that's more restrictive. Colorado has abundance quartz, and it does attract spirits here. Yes. So to answer your question, Heidi, I know that Tim and I have talked about it a lot before. Quartz in and of itself actually calls forth spiritual activity. So if you know places with a lot of high strangeness, and some of them I legally can't say on the show, there are multiple places across the United States that are talked about a lot in different shows. And those places in particular, you will see a lot of high strangeness. And when you really go down in the soil samples, you'll find out that most of the time they end up having a ton of quartz within the soil structure underneath. And that it's a conduit. So you want to think of it as it's not the quartz itself doing it. It's just creating a magnification of what's already there, and thus allowing those spirits to culminate or different things to activate in that actual location. So with this all being said, I cannot thank you all enough for showing up in the chat. I appreciate you so incredibly much. I know that Tim does as well. I don't really know how to end this like he does, but what I will say is thank you all for coming from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all for listening. We love you all, and hopefully we'll be doing this again, maybe on my channel. Au revoir.